Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Ryan Inspires, aka the little engineer that could, and welcome back to the YouTube channel where all I'm trying to do is give practical advice to engineer success in your life. And yeah, so I'm back, y'all. Look, it's been some time. Um, Thank God for scheduled content, right? Because life happened and your boy was out of it. Your boy was really out of it. So I'm gonna get a little bit into what happened. But before I do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button and share this. Um, I am happy to say that I'm past the 200 subscribers. You know, small wins, we'll continue to celebrate them, but share this content and let's keep running it up, all right? So, look, life really just be happening and it be happening to you, and thank God it be happening for you. But I got a little bit of a shake up recently. So, what happened? So it was a weekend about 2 weekends ago, and I'm recording this at the end of September. So 2 weeks ago was mid-September, whatever. Anyway, so it was a Sunday, regular Sunday. I mean normal, right? You all seen the Faith and Focus series that I do, or basically the two vlogs that I did. One, you know how the Sundays start off going to church. And then after that, this time it wasn't any mall activity, but it was definitely just, folding clothes, getting ready for the week, the usual things that you do on a Sunday. So got up this Sunday, normal routine, went to church, came back home, and Michelle and I, we were folding clothes and washing clothes and all those things. I was folding clothes and I was actually watching the Chiefs versus the Eagles. So that game was going on. We were losing. I was just laying down on the couch watching the game, and I got up like I would normally do. So I was laying down like this, and I got up like I would usually do. I mean, this ain't nothing crazy going on, and I started to feel dizzy. And when I say dizzy, I mean like dizzy, right? But I was like, okay, maybe I just got up too fast, whatever. So I walk inside and I go to start putting away the clothes that I just folded. Started feeling even more dizzy. At the same time, Michelle and I were playing, Romeo's playing, he's jumping on me, etc. And I'm like, yo, wait, stop. Something doesn't feel right. I feel dizzy. And just like that, I went from feeling dizzy to then feeling nauseous. And then it was just like projectile vomit. So that went on, and then I started to feel dizzy while it was happening. Now, the night before was the Terence Crawford versus Canelo fight. I went by a friend, and I ate fried catfish, and I was thinking, okay, maybe it didn't agree with my stomach, maybe I got a bad batch, whatever it is. So I'm thinking, okay, this is food poisoning for sure. But like the more I vomit, the more dizzy I would get. So I feel like last time I was drinking and this kind of happened, I was like, all right, I was able to go take a shower and it kind of calmed down everything, right? So I went and took a cold shower, and I feel that it helped a little bit, but it just felt uncomfortable to the point where I was dizzy and cold. So when I came out of the bathroom, I just couldn't stop vomiting. Like every time I'd move, I would vomit. So then eventually, Michelle, my wife, was like, all right, yo, come on, we go into the ER. And reluctantly at first, I was like, nah, I don't need the ER, I'm good, all the while vomiting. Then eventually I mustered up the strength. Well, she was just like, bully ball, like, nah, you getting in the car, we going. So hopped in the whip, went to the ER, and I'm talking about, bro, on the way there I'm vomiting. I get there, and so when I knew it was, this didn't feel like food poisoning, it was like I couldn't open my eyes from the time I opened my eyes, it made me feel even more nauseous. And it's almost like things were starting to get a little bit blurry, which that's what scared me. Now, I work in the vision field, I work in ophthalmology field, and the blurred vision really started to scare me. But so I just kept my eyes closed the entire time, and we get to the ER. No, I'm talking about my eyes were closed so much, and I guess my body was just like shutting down, as in like, yo, just go sleep, because I could hear what's happening, but I can't see what's happening. I know I'm up, but I know I'm not like fully aware of where I'm at, where I am, etc. So we end up at one ER, and I think they didn't have the machines to. I can't even remember what it was. I just know that when I went in, they were like, yeah, we don't have anything that could actually like scan him or whatever. So they sent us to another ER. When I get to that ER, and again, they give me the little blue bag. I'm vomiting this entire time. I get to the other ER, and they bring out a wheelchair because I just can't walk. I like walking feels like, after you hit the bottle too hard the night before and you're just stumbling around. I felt like that. And I remember they bring out a wheelchair, and just getting from the car to the wheelchair, vomit. As they started to move the wheelchair, like vomit, and it was like from the pits of your stomach type where there's nothing in there, but it's just your body reacting to the movement. So I'm like opening my eyes a little bit just to see where I'm at, see what's going on, like look at the doctor's face, etc. But long story short, or long story long, whatever, they put me on trips, and they're like, yo, what's going on? And my wife is explaining, and then they're like, okay. So they start giving me medicine to help with the vomiting, the nausea, etc. And it comes out to the evening, and it's in the evening, and they're like, well, we believe that he has vertigo. So I'm like, what is that? And then the first thing that popped into my head was, well, could you fix it? Because this feels horrible. And they were like, yeah, it's vertigo, but we don't know what's causing it. It could be just a positional thing, or it could be something in his brain, whatever. So they did the CT scan, that cleared. But basically what they described to me was, we have crystals on the inner part of our ear, and sometimes those crystals, I guess calcium crystals, could become dislodged, and that could then trigger this response in your body, which is called vertigo, which is the spinning, the dizzy sensation, and whatever. Anyway, so I tried to leave that night, could not leave, because as soon as I got off the bed and they tried to wheel me out, I started vomiting again like crazy. So they said, okay, we'll keep him and we will monitor him for the night. But anyway, turned out I had vertigo. Now I was thinking, alright, we going to this IV, they will monitor me. Once I stop vomiting, I'm gonna be straight, I could leave back to regular programming. Well, turns out when you have vertigo, you feel like you have a hangover for the next 6 to 10 days, where you could barely walk. Like, I could not walk straight. I had to get help to go to the bathroom. I had to get help to just stand in one place. So, yeah, couldn't go to work. Had to lay in bed the entire time. I'm talking about like in the bed. I could get up. The first day out, in bed the entire time. The second day, I was able to like walk to the couch, but it was just like, as soon as I got to the couch, just to lie down on the couch because I felt bad. I just felt horrible. Again, it feels, if anybody wants to know, and hopefully you don't ever feel like this, but if you ever had a hangover, it feels like having a hangover day in, day out, 24. So it feels like the worst part of the hangover extended throughout the day, throughout the night. Rolling over in bed, horrible. Walking, horrible. Even moving my neck from left to right, that was horrible. You just feel like a sensation like almost like your head turn and your eyes are trying to catch up with your body. So they told me to go by the ENT. The ENT confirmed. We did something called an Epley maneuver. She confirmed that she sees this regularly. So the maneuver is supposed to put the crystals back in the position that it's supposed to be. But needless to say, I am accustomed going. Like, I am trying to eat healthier, trying to lay off these sweets. That's just me trying to take vitamins and supplements. So multivitamins, I'm taking vitamin D, taking what's it called? The fish oil. I'm taking these things thinking, I'm trying to keep my body in shape. I'm in the gym 4 to 5 times a week. And, trying to stay healthy, bro. And then something like this happens, which the ENT told me there's nothing you could have done to stop this from happening. It is what it is. It happens. But the worst part of it was laying in bed, not being able to do the things I normally do. Not even like the work and the, even this, but it's more like seeing Remy, my son, and like can't go play with him because I just feel bad. Or I can't help around the house or help Michelle with certain things. Like, I normally pick Remy up from school. I normally playing football with him in the evening, or basketball, or doing something, riding his bike outside. Can't do that. Can't go to his trainings. Can't do the simple things, right? And he's looking at me wondering, well, he thinks I had food poisoning the entire time because it was just hard to explain vertigo to him. But just that made me feel really bad. And by day 3, which was like the Wednesday, I must say, because I'm home alone, I'm just like, bro, this sucks. And I'm beating myself up. And then I started remembering, like, at that time, obviously I'm waking up in the morning, I'm praying, but even reading my Bible or reading was just, it wasn't comfortable because of that visual disturbance. So I'm not really in the word like that, and I'm just sulking. And I'm like, okay, you're supposed to be a man of faith. This is not even life and death, and it seems like your faith is already shaken. But it's not like I'm not trusting God to get better. I'm just like, God, kind of like, almost like, why, right? And then it hit me. I remember James 1:2-4. And that's the verse that goes, consider it all joy when you face various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience, and let patience have its perfect way, so that you will be perfect and lacking nothing. So at that time, that scripture came back to me, and I'm like, you know what? All right, so this does not feel joyful. I must admit, it did not feel joyful. But, I mean, sorry, yeah, I wasn't happy. It didn't feel joyful. But at the same time, what do you consider joy? The moment, right? Consider joy. Consider a joy, the various trials. Okay, so it's considering this trial joy. So at that time, I kind of snapped back into it, and I start remembering that joy isn't pretending that it's fine, but joy is trusting God in the battle, in the trial, and knowing that even though you don't feel well, that God is going to make it all right for you. So in the moment, I had to snap back and think about it as, okay, I got to consider it all joy, because this is a trial that will help strengthen my faith. It will help strengthen my faith muscle and give me the perseverance. And again, yeah, it wasn't life and death. It wasn't something that was super major. It felt horrible in the time, but it's like a muscle, right? When you go to the gym, you're not going to be the biggest, strongest at the time, right? You mightn't be able to lift 225 pounds your first week in the gym, but after a year, you may be able to do it. So you mightn't be able to show that maturity in your faith in your first trial, but maybe the more you use that faith muscle, by the time you reach big trials in your life, you've already flexed that muscle so much that you're able to push that 225-pound trial with joy in your heart. So that was something that I remembered, that 200, that James 1:2-4, and just remembering that I'm human too, right? At the same time, while I was feeling kind of down, I had to remind myself that, you're human. That doesn't mean that you're not who you say you want to be or who you are in terms of your faith in God and trusting in God. It's just that it does suck. So just remembering that I'm human. And also, again, at the time, I had a lot of time to think, remembering Jesus in the garden and him saying to God, if you can take this cup from me, it's not like he wasn't suffering, and he didn't feel like the weight of it. So at the same time, just saying that, okay, it's okay for me to feel the weight of this, but at the same time, in that same phrase or that same interaction Jesus had at that time, he said, not my will, but your will be done. So at the end of it, that's what I had to chalk it up to. God, not my will, but your will be done. This happened for a reason. And also consider it all joy, knowing that it's going to increase my perseverance, it's going to increase my faith. And if Jesus was able to wrestle with his trial, then it's okay. It's okay for you to wrestle with yours. And it's okay for me to wrestle with mine. So I definitely had some time to think about that, and I must say, when I started to tell people, because obviously I went missing for a while and people were wondering, I told them it's actually a little bit more common than I thought. I really thought, okay, yeah, this ain't, you know what I mean? Like, this is something that's just happening to me and nobody else on the earth this is happening to, but apparently it's very common, and I really hope it doesn't happen ever again. But hey, it is what it is, right? We roll with the punches. We trust God. At the end of the day, we say just like Jesus said, not my will, but your will be done. We hope that we consider it all joy when we face all these various trials, and we're just trying to posture our hearts in a way where we could take on all that comes our way with a joyful heart. So that's all I have for today. I just wanted to give an update on what happened, and hopefully you don't ever have to go through that, but you're definitely going to go through trials. And I want you to remember that James 1:2-4. I want you to remember Jesus in the garden. And I'm sorry, I don't remember what scripture that is, but I'm sure you could Google it and find it. It's in the Gospels, of course. It was right before he got arrested. So if you're in a season where life is a little bit shaky, it's maybe not life or death, just like my situation wasn't life or death, but it still weighs on you, right? And that's what it is. I want you to remember this. Your trial is not wasted. It's training your faith. So that trial that you're going through is building your perseverance, is building that faith muscle. So the struggle doesn't disqualify your faith, it develops it. Don't just go through your trial, grow through your trial. All right? And that's it, y'all. If you like the content, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit like. Share up the thing. Share it up. And comment down below. Let me know. Is life lifing? Do you resonate? Do you resonate with James 1:2-4? And also, do you know anybody who ever had vertigo? Comment that below. That's one of the main things. Anybody you know have vertigo, or had vertigo, or dealt with this, or have you dealt with this? But remember James 1:2-4. Please consider it joy when you face various trials. And again, remember, don't just go through your trial, grow through your trial. Thanks for lending me your ear. You could have it back. It's your boy Rhyme Inspires, aka the little engineer that could, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.